Welcome to the Show Me the Way podcast. I am your host, Andrea Miller, alongside a dear, dear friend, Tammy Thompson, and we are so excited to bring this podcast to you. Show Me the Way podcast is a podcast dedicated to exploring the journeys of those who have faced adversity and found themselves on unexpected paths. We will have meaningful, thoughtful conversations about challenges we have faced and how we discovered and forged new direction. Prepare to be inspired and to uncover your own strength as you listen to relatable and motivating stories. Life has a way of twisting and turning, and we often need a fresh perspective to understand how to navigate. Let's show each other the way. Wow, we're already at episode 10. What better way to celebrate this milestone than with our longtime friend and sorority sister, Jackie DeLuca? Tammy and I have been honored to have known Jackie for over 20 years and to have watched her grow into such an amazing person after so many pivots taken. Jackie is a mom of two, has studied engineering and then law, has had many different career opportunities, has been married and divorced, lived abroad where her kids grew up, and made the very difficult decision to return home to be with her family amidst different thoughts from her ex-husband and two children. Jackie's daughter decided to stay overseas, and after trying things out in the U.S. for 2 years, her son decided to go back as well. Although Jackie worried about the future for her kids, her relationship with them, and what others would think, she worked through her emotions and is now supporting her children and their choices and finding her own joy with the new picture as well. Jackie's perspective and advice is for us all, not just mothers. Learn along with us as we hear Jackie's story and share some laughs through three lifelong friends. Welcome back to the Show Me the Way podcast. It's hard to believe, but we're already on episode 10. We've had so much fun so far, and we truly appreciate all of your support. Today, we're thrilled to welcome our guest, Jackie DeLuca. Both Tammy and I know Jackie from college and our sorority, so it's extra special to have her join us. Jackie is an incredible person, a loving mother of two who has lived in different parts of the world, gaining a wealth of experience through various jobs and situations. As I always say, everyone has a story, but Jackie probably has 15 to choose from. Tammy knew she'd be perfect for the show, not just because she's a joy to talk to, but also because her unique perspective has so much to teach us. Jackie, thanks so much for being here with us. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a lovely intro.
Thank you. Yes, of course. This is going to be fun. I know this. So thank you so much for being here. I kind of got everybody up early today to get started. So I appreciate that. We're really excited to have you. So as you know, we're probably going to talk about one of those 15 stories where you've had to pivot. But I always like to start the podcast I gave an intro, but we would love to hear a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I feel like that's one thing in life I can say is I feel like I've lived my life. Um, I've done a lot of things, and some of them have had great, results from that, and some of them have been harder. And but like you said, they all give you some experiences and some learnings along the way in life. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, we met in college where I was studying to be an engineer, and I had like this part of my life where I thought life was going to go that way, and then got married and then divorced after 2 years, and then I ended up going to get my law degree and then left the country. So I lived in Denmark and in the Netherlands for some time, in Italy for a very short time. And then, when you reassess your values and what's important to you, I found myself moving back home to Michigan. So I'm very, very happy being here and being with my family. And yeah, unfortunately, my two kids are not here, but at the same time, fortunately, they're both doing amazing. So, and that's the most important thing. Happy kids, happy mom.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. So tell us, your kids are how old?
My daughter is 17. She'll be 18 in a couple months. And then my son is 12. He's living with dad. And my daughter is actually doing a study abroad in the UK. And she is loving it. She's doing an
Well,
art and design program there. Just loves
that's
it. So,
amazing. Well, she got a good
yeah.
example from her mom. Like, don't be afraid, try things and experience
Yeah.
life. And I loved
Yeah.
what you said at first. I can feel like I lived my life. Not everybody can say that. So that's really good and good perspective for those of us that still have some living to do. So I love that. Like I said, there's so many different stories and so many different paths. And every time we do this podcast, like sometimes they come on and they're like, I know exactly what I'm going to talk about. And they even give us some tidbits ahead of time. But other times we just kind of start talking. So I, I don't know if you want to narrow down, but I would love to hear about more of a specific time when you had to pivot and what that was like. I mean, you just shared with us many pivots, but if there's a specific one you kind of want to talk through, maybe we could go there.
Yeah, I'll share the most recent one because that's like very fresh, and it was a very very difficult one for me. But it was, you know, okay. So I was living in Denver. I'll kind of give a little bit of background so you can kind of hear the whole story. But I was married for 14 years, then divorced, and then living in Denmark, divorced for about 2 years, and had actually a very good relationship with my ex. We lived close together. The kids would go back and forth. But I was really lonely at those 2 years in terms of feeling like I wasn't where I wanted to be. I was away from my family and, just being on my own. So every week when I didn't have the kids, I just felt like, what am I doing here? Every morning I'd wake up and I really had to balance that with what's good for the kids right now. So I wanted to stay for the kids so that they had the stability to get used to the divorce. But then there was a time where I came home one summer. I saw my parents were getting older, and I was like, I need to go home, and it just kind of it just sat with me, and I made that decision. And I'm one of those people where I make a decision and then I do it. I follow through with it, and so it wasn't a very pretty process to move from Denmark back to the US because I've been gone for like 13 years. So by that time, I had to figure out how to do it. And my ex was really upset about it. My kids were upset about it. And I was like, I have to do this though. My daughter got very angry with me, and we had a lot of turbulence for about a year. For that first year that I moved home, my son decided he would come with me. And we were living at my parents' house when I first got here. So they have a huge house, and my parents are amazing. So I was feeling so blessed to have that luxury, and I could save my money and figure something out. But the market was bad, and I didn't want to make bad decisions, financial decisions for us, just because I was wanting to have independence. I mean, this was the right thing for me to do. And we had a really great 2 years here. And then when I went this last summer, so this is just a couple months ago, went last summer to bring my son to visit his dad in Denmark. He tells me, okay, I'm not coming back to the US with you. And like my heart just broke. And I go, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You don't, that's not an option for you to stay in Denmark. And he's like, Mom, I'm not getting on that plane with you. And so for like a week, sorry, I'm getting emotional, but that was tough because it was like a week. I was going to spend the whole summer there. And then I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like I'm going to go back by myself. And I had to process this. And my instant feeling was like a little bit like a rejection towards me in the US and my family, but it had actually nothing to do with me. So I had to really come to terms with that. And of course, he wants to be where he feels like home. And he grew up in Denmark. And so that's what he needed to do, and how brave for him to tell me that. So I decided to change my attitude and support him and say, okay, this is what he wants to do. He has a father here. How do I make sure that he's okay? And now I know how it is, like living abroad, being away from my daughter. So I had some experience with like how it was going to feel. So that's when I really had to kind of align with my ex. We had to figure out what needed to happen. So we made a list together, and there's actually some social workers in Denmark that we were working with, and there were a lot of issues. It wasn't like my ex was doing all that well. So I had to have how am I going to make sure Victor's going to go to school every day, and so all these little things were happening. So we kind of came up with a plan, and but him deciding to stay in Denmark has been like tough. But at the same time, like so I get emotional like when I even think about it. My baby's not here. I came home, and then my boyfriend's like, come and move in with me. And I was like, all right, because I waited because I wanted to make sure Victor was okay. And so I decided to move in with him, and we've been having so much fun. it's like your life is like really fun and like you don't got to worry about anything except for yourself and you don't have kids and so I've just really tried to and take advantage of the fact that I'm kind of independent now and enjoy my life, find my hobbies, read some books, and get back to the things that I like to do. Because when you're a mom, especially with a kid that young, it's all about the kids. You want to make sure that they're okay and they help guide your direction in life. So yeah, that was a change perspective for me. And the best thing about this whole thing and what's happened in like the last month is how much my daughter and I have come together because now that she's been on her own, she's like, "Oh, I understand things better now. I get you, mom, and I feel like we're a lot closer knowing seeing the things that you were dealing with before and I get it." And she calls me all the time and she's always talking to me about how she's feeling and what's going on with her and I love it so much. It's just awesome. So I've been really happy and I feel like my thing, I guess, that I would share with people is to kind of play the long game, do the right thing in your moments, and things will work out. I mean, and if they don't, well, at least you know you were doing the right thing the whole time. So we don't have control over everything. So you have to do the best with what you got.
So many good things just going through my mind as I'm listening to you talk.
Me too. Me too.
We we kind of talked a little bit in preparation for this, and we were talking about how you feel judgment. Tammy can relate to this in other ways, but a lot of times moms feel judged if they don't do the right thing with their kids or people don't think they do the right things with their kids. And I was telling you yesterday, you reminded me a lot of my little sister who's got 2 kids and she's had not out of the country, but she's had to go through some exploration too. Like, where does my son thrive? Where does he need to be? I loved that you said, I had to stop and think about him. It wasn't about me.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like all moms can relate to that.
Too. I think you're talking about a very specific situation with your kids, but there are so many situations in life that we do bring it to, oh, what about me? But it isn't about us, really. I don't have kids, I have a dog. So I can't exactly relate as being a mother, but there have been a lot of situations in my life, and people have said to me, it's not about you, right? And it doesn't matter what other people think. And we think they're going to think something, and people aren't even thinking that. It's
That's
us.
true too.
We're
Yeah.
making it up in our heads.
Yeah.
And so I love that you were like, it's not about me. It's a great
Wish it
lesson.
was. No.
And
That might be why he came the first time. I don't know.
I think people take a very long time sometimes to learn these things. And you were like able to pivot. I mean, you thought about it, but you pivoted on the fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I was like feeling as devastated I was that week when he told me. And it was weird. I went online and I wanted to hear other people's stories. That was like the first thing I did. That's why I love your podcast because I feel like you get so much inspiration and insight from hearing other people. This isn't the first time in life that this is happening and it's not the last. So what's worked for people? What hasn't worked? And I heard a lot of mothers who were devastated that they had zero relationship with their kids. And that was the most important thing to me is how's my relationship with my kids going to be throughout life? And I've always known that that was important. So I had to think, okay, you have to be authentic to yourself. You have to follow your own truth. But then you also, if your interest is in your relationships, you have to think about what do they want? Can that work for them? This is part of my son's growth and where he's feeling good. And I know he was homesick when he was here, and it was like, okay, but you need time to see how it works here too. And he did. He gave it a chance. He gave it 2 years. And the thing is, maybe he'll change his mind in the future. He knows though that he's got a home here too. He knows that I love him and he knows that I'll always be there for him. And he feels that and I can feel that from him because he can call me and hang up on me and do whatever he wants whenever he wants to. And I know now my daughter knows that too, that she like has a home here. She's been very adamant about not wanting to be here, but that's also okay. You have options and My job is to like help give you options and know will always have a home with me. And that's it. You got to figure it out at some point too for yourself.
And we always used to say that your personality, Jackie, fits with this kind of movement. Not everybody could say, I'm just going to try this.
Yeah.
But look at it, just added so much to your perspective and to your life. And you had to go through all of that experience to be who
Yeah.
you are today.
Yeah, that's so true. I was like thinking about what are we going to talk about? And I was thinking, oh, what advice would I give myself? Would you have done it differently? And it's, oh yeah, I would have done this because I know the outcome of it. But at the same time, I learned something from it. I had my
Yeah.
2 kids, which I wouldn't change for anything. That was just a life I had to live because I was really trying to be, taking all the opportunities that were in front of me, and I wanted to live a full life. I wanted to try everything, and my career has been really great because of it. I have a very exciting and great job, and I went offshore once. I was in a helicopter ride in the North Sea, and
Yes.
that was pretty cool. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's just been a lot of crazy things.
What I was noticing though, as you were talking and sharing, obviously everybody will understand and hear that there were difficult times, and you recognize there were difficult times, and you also look at what's the good that has come out of it. Even now, like, oh gosh, I was feeling, deserted, right, by my kids, and now I'm here and I don't have my kids with me, but now I'm, I'm with somebody who I love and I get to live with him, and that's a different scenario than maybe what would be. And so now you're experiencing maybe different things than if you were, you know, if you had your kids
Nice little victory here.
with you.
Yeah.
I, for
Yes.
one, am really proud of you because I don't think many people could do all of that. So proud
I
of
don't
you,
know.
hands
Thank
up to
you.
you. And I think so many people can get perspective. And what I also was thinking as you were talking is I was actually very fortunate to be on another podcast yesterday. And the focus was today, not tomorrow, which is this little tattoo that I've got on the inside of my wrist. And I got it because I was working with some direct marketing people that would talk about that in terms of get your work done. Like you don't have tomorrow, like reach out and talk to people today. But I take it to mean so much more to that. And it's very related to what you're saying. Like, you don't know what tomorrow brings. So take the opportunities, try them. And I was really talking about so many things that I've done. I have tried different jobs and different roles and that kind of thing. And sometimes they weren't the best choice, but
Yeah.
I don't ever want to go back and say, oh, I never should have done that because it helped me learn something or I got
Yeah.
some kind of different experience that I wouldn't have had before.
Yeah. I was really afraid of what people would think about this when I would leave because I feel like as a mom and trying to be a good mom, I need to be there for my kids, number one. And does that mean though that I got to live in another country? And I mean, a place where I don't want to be, So it's like that was so hard for me to come to terms with. And I still struggle with like guilt. And I have a counselor that I talk to, and that's our topic. Is this like a people pleasing thing and you feel guilty? Is that why you're doing it? Or is that because that's what you really want to do? So it's kind of talking through those thoughts. And I feel like, especially as women, we tend to sometimes make decisions because that's what we think we ought to do. And that's what people around us think we should do. And you got to turn that back on ourselves and remember you have to think about what do you really want to do, am I doing this because this is what I want to do or not? And
That's awesome. I love that. I see so many women in my life who make so many sacrifices because they're a mom. And like you said, you put your kids first, but I think that you can sometimes put yourself first, and you should, because you got to
yes,
help yourself before you can
yeah,
help others. And because if you're not okay, how do you create an environment that's okay for other people to live
right,
in?
And we all need this advice, and it's good to keep reiterating it because it's very important. So it comes up time after time, even with when women have different stories. So very good point, Tammy, for sure, to bring that up because it's very true. But I also think, well, one, I'm sorry, you're probably never going to get rid of guilt altogether.
right,
It's not going to go away, but you can learn to adjust and talk through it. And I love that you're speaking with somebody about it so that you can get your real feelings out and hopefully continue to go after your joy. But the other thing I wanted to say too is that it's okay to go after these things, especially if you never lose what your why is. And listening to you talk the whole time, your why is to make sure your family, your kids are okay. And you've done all of that. You've proven all of that. Even from a different country, you're like, wait, time out. Are my kids okay? And it sounds like they are right now. So you were able to take your next steps in your life. And I'm very proud of you. And again, very short period of time. Some people take years to figure all of this out, but we don't always have years.
We don't always have it. And actually I was just thinking about like this one comment you said, "Oh, you're so strong and you did this and proud of me." And it's like I have the strength or whatever. And I look at you two ladies and I listen to the other ladies on your show, and even some of my colleagues. I admire them too. I see the strength that they have as well. And because we all face all of our fears and our challenges, and then we go for it, you know? I mean, Tammy moving to Florida, leaving us behind. And it's like, that's kind of scary. You don't know anybody there, and you did it anyway. And early retirement. I mean, that's scary too. We don't even realize like how much we inspire each other.
I think you're right, Jackie. I think that's why we keep having women on here, because we're all inspiring one another. And even when you're like, I don't know what I would talk about, I have a couple of people that Tammy and I are looking forward to speaking with next week and the weeks going forward. Everybody has a story and everyone has perspective that we can share. So I know that the listeners will get something out of today's discussion for sure, especially moms or those that are contemplating some big changes. And sometimes if we just keep thinking about something and we never go after it, we could miss some really big
miss the
opportunities.
opportunities. And you don't usually regret like not taking the steps that you feel like you need to take. You know in your heart what you need to do, but you never regret, oh, I wish I didn't try that. You always regret, I wish I would have tried certain things. It's always the
those
opposite.
scary things, the things that scare us are the things that we really learn from and make us grow. And we should do things that scare us.
And sometimes messy, Tammy.
Yeah, maybe.
maybe a little messy.
A little messy.
We talk about that on our show quite a bit too, where I'm like, let's just do it. Tammy's like, take a breath. So, yeah, sometimes messy, but sometimes really thoughtful as well. A good balance, right?
Yeah.
So, well, generally, I want to say there's some pieces of advice you would give to another person, but I think you've shared quite a few pieces of advice. But is there something you think you missed that you wanted to make sure our listeners heard? That's okay. I think you gave us a lot of great things. You kind of went into, I've got like questions I like to ask people, and you kind of just went through them line by line without even knowing it. So you did great.
That is totally what I was thinking. I'm like, I think my advice would be like, keep in touch with your girlfriends because they're the best. They are the best. Enjoy that time together. And I feel like that's one of the hard things for me is like, making sure I, really prioritize my friendships because they're so important and they make you feel good and it's great. And especially life is about joy.
Especially the ones you've had for 20 some years. So
yes, absolutely.
But that's perfect. Life is about joy. I've told a couple other people that have been on the show that I'm not sure what to name the episode, but hey, you might have just named it right there because I always say that on my Instagram posts, on my Facebook posts, find your joy, go after your joy. So I love that word. We're really trying to show each other the way with this podcast, and we're really trying to put perspectives out there and just allow people to know that they're not alone and they can go after their joy in this very short life and they can figure things out. It's important to have your village and your group of girlfriends that are there to support you and also your supportive partners as well. If you don't have that, make sure you find it because you can't do all of this without it. It's another thing I brought up in the podcast I was in yesterday. Like people have done things before. You can ask them. You can ask other moms what they've done when they've had to share custody and when they've had to maybe have some time away from their kids. People have gone through it. It's not just on you.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't know everybody's stories, like you say. So it's, be curious instead of judging, ask questions and be curious and find out. And you probably will learn something.
That's for sure. It's another reason I wanted to do this podcast because the second I start talking about my journey with my son, it opens people up. I mean, sometimes they'll talk about similar medical issues, but sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, I know what it's like to go through something crazy and make a pivot and make a change. And once you start listening, you're right. You hear so much and you learn so much. So Beautiful
Yeah.
advice. Great
Yeah.
advice for our listeners. So we knew it would be great to have you on. Tammy just immediately thought we have to have Jackie. So fun to talk with you. And
Thank you.
thank you
It's
so
been
much for being
amazing.
here.
Oh,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you having me. It was
Of
awesome to
course.
see you guys, and I hope to talk to you and see you very, very soon.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you for joining us for the Show Me the Way podcast. We truly appreciate you tuning in to today's episode about overcoming adversity and finding your path. We hope it brought you new insights, empowered you with perspective, and inspired you to find joy in your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who could use a little motivation. Until next time, keep seeking the light and showing the way.